fellow YouTubers. Sorry, I try to talk a little bit quiet at times because we got a bunch of neighbors in this apartment complex right next door. And I'm always making videos, but I wanted to talk a little bit about this secret that I have, and I haven't told anyone except for my teenage son. But I'm gonna not address that right now. Instead, right now, what I want to talk about is how something happened that I really didn't foresee to this channel. So let me give you a little bit of background first. So I was having my channel, and then I shared a religious experience on that channel. I'd had it for maybe 6 weeks before I did that, and I got a pretty positive response. And that's kind of where my heart lies. So I left a few more addressing similar topics. And then I started to get a lot more negative feedback. And I think it was because I made so many of those Chuck Gines videos that I got a lot of subscribers from him. And a lot of his subscribers just didn't want to hear anything having to do with God, I think. So, I ended up having to kind of apologize to a lot of people, which didn't really suit me well and didn't feel right. But, I'm called, the name of my channel is Simply Biking. And here I am, going off on God and talking about other stuff. So I would, with that line of thinking, I would apologize and say, I understand you want to just hear mainly about motorcycles. I'll try to limit how much I bring up the big man upstairs, and just so it doesn't irritate you, want to keep my subscribers, right? So, but then I started maybe around 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago, started easing in a few more, and I didn't get as much of that negative feedback as I had when I was getting subscribers from Rat Trap, Chuck Gines. So that was a good thing. And then I had that phone call, which would be now about 5 days ago, from Scooter Tramp Scotty, and we talked about the sad state of affairs in America in general. But then, he basically ended up coming around to, really wanting to drive home that point that, it's elites behind this, and they have an agenda. But here in America, he was wanting to really pin it primarily on one family. So there's a popular family name that I avoided saying, and I'll continue to avoid saying, but that he was mentioning that this family, really, really elite, wealthy family, is really the driving force behind this, all these problems that we have going on. And I made that video, and it's got like I think almost 800 views, and that's great. But I think it gave me a bunch of new subscribers, and out of a lot of these new subscribers that commented that I didn't recognize their name, they don't seem to mind, and a lot of them even said things like God bless and amen. So that really, really felt good. Now for the secret. The secret is, I'd say about 60% of the impetus, for maybe more, maybe as much as 75%. So maybe somewhere around 70% of the impetus for me wanting to start this channel was wanting to reach bikers, motorcycle enthusiasts, with the good news of Jesus. So hearing that, please don't unsubscribe. I will still continue to make my, strictly motorcycle-oriented videos. I will continue to make some, political type videos. And so with that being my primary incentive and my primary drive, it really feels good to be able to get some, followers, subscribers, that don't mind, because that's my zeal, that's my enthusiasm. And I even feel, I might be going too far to say this, but I even feel that, in the Bible, it always talks about there's seasons for different things. And I think maybe my season just wasn't ready to really be preaching, or not really preaching, but talking about how to please God, basically. Because I tried to start up this other channel I called Catholic Beliefs, and I know us Saving Beliefs, and then I changed it to Catholic Beliefs, but I really flopped. I couldn't get that up and running. So it feels so good to see I got like, I don't know, maybe 35 new subscribers in the last few days, and they seem more open to this line of reasoning and this topic of conversation, because I really feel that talking about who's president next, talking about positive things, that's all well and good, but I feel like the absolutely most important thing I can talk about in general and to help this country would be God, and how he needs to play a role in our lives. And he demands that. And if you think you can totally be happy and successful with absolutely zero God in your life and zero interaction and prayers and just focusing on him, giving him praise, giving him thanks, whether you go to church or not, without that, I think you're under a false impression. We are not capable. And so there are successful people that have no belief in God, but happiness, that was one of the key words that I had just mentioned. So you can be financially successful, but I mean, to really truly have joy within your heart that doesn't rely upon our secular materialism, that comes from a special place. And I always loved, there was like I think a Bob Marley reggae song that said, Noah's Modest Yahoo. This group I used to listen to, they're Jewish, and they sing just great songs that have a lot to do with God. And he says, the saddest person is the one that's unhappy and has all this material possessions. The best person is the guy that has nothing and is just as happy as can be. So that's the true test of happiness. And in this world today, people don't even think that's possible. But I'm sorry, I've been going to Mexico. It made such an impression on me as a child, how the kids down there in Mexico running around with snot all dripping out of their nose, no shoes, just like dirt all over them. They seem so much happier than the kids up here. And that's another thing that I've seen Scotty Carequez allude to and mention. People in general, but it's really evident in the children. They're out there working at age 3, 4 years old, selling chiclets and stuff. But, they're happy, and you can see it. So it's because they come from most likely a loving home with, they feel safe. Their parents are caring for them and looking after their safety. And they're probably, a lot of them have big families, so you have a lot of siblings to play with. But, I'm not going to analyze that anymore. It's just interesting. So I started realizing very young that, materialism is not, and then I started really getting exposed to the Bible in elementary school and how Jesus, the elephant in the Bible, they say, is how Jesus says, if you really want to follow me, leave everything and follow me. That's like something that we don't really talk about. And Jesus did say that in more than one place. So I've always tried to aim on not having too much financial success or even too much money, and just tried to get a career where I could help others and stay humble and try to serve. So by serving people, you are serving God, no doubt about it. And the population I work with is primarily religious. You know, I've always worked primarily with Hispanic and African American, and I love that about that population. So a lot of times when they, come in a state of grief, they'll mention that, and it just warms the cockles of my heart, because it's so much easier dealing with the death of a loved one when you have that firm foundation and that understanding that this is just a dress rehearsal. The real thing is up there. Yes, what we do down here echoes through all eternity, but this is not what we were made for, in my opinion. That's what we were made for, and we just have to suffer down here for a bit and share in Christ's suffering, so that, there's a passage in the Bible that says, when you're in love with me and you're a Christian down there on that earth, you will be treated like sheep being taken to slaughter. Jesus also said, if the world hates you, remember it hated me first. So if you're a Christian and you're completely on board, you can't really expect or even really want the easy life. Because the easy life is not going to keep you grounded and is not going to assist you getting into heaven. It's really the life full of trials and tribulations, where you have to dig deep and rely on the strength of the Lord and keep that closeness and that relationship there. That's the kind of life that's going to make sure that you get into heaven. I don't know if it's true, but the nuns always in elementary school spoke about the different echelons of heaven. And I'd like to think that's true, because someone like Joseph, Jesus's earthly father, or St. Francis of Assisi or Padre Pio, there's no way they should be on the same level as someone like me. They need to be up. So anyways, I'm going to say goodbye. So I'm so happy that I have a whole new group of subscribers that don't mind me talking about God. Amen. God bless. We need this in our country. We need to talk about God. We need to push our children back to a relationship with Him. And we need a lot of things. But number one, first and foremost, we need God in our lives. Amen.